Focal Landscape by Makaran Joshi, a watercolor tutorial. Our approach is using limited colors, just four: yellow, blue, burnt sienna, and red. And since colors are limited, we need to work more on variation in tones. The area I'm painting is already wet. Since I need to spread color and get variation in tones, I'm using the wet on wet method to paint. In many of my landscapes, I use wet on wet method most of the times. In watercolor, you need to be extra cautious to maintain your drawing, especially while painting the background, and that too with a broad brush. And it certainly is a skill worth learning. Once again, keeping the drawing intact while painting. And with practice, you'll definitely be able to handle many tricky areas, smaller areas like the one I'm handling now. While the paint is still wet, it's time to add some details. At this stage, I choose to lift the paint. Lifting some more paint at some more places. In watercolor, we usually go from the lighter tones to the darker ones. We sometimes use paper white as the lightest tone or the highlight. Remember, this video tutorial is useful for those who wish to paint a picture using limited colors. Since we are using limited colors, we need to be more focusing on harmonious symphony of tones. Remember, I said tones, not just colors, tones, because each and every color or even the color combination has its specific tone: lighter, middle, darker, lightest, or darkest, but every color has a tone. Remember, this video tutorial is useful for those who wish to paint a picture using limited colors. So tone is simply the amount of darkness or lightness. So one of the ways to paint a picture is to go for middle tones in the background, and for all three, the light, the middle, and the dark tones in the main subject. So the background is basically similar tones and more contrast in the main subject. Among many approaches, this is a useful approach, especially for the beginners. But it is not just for beginners. Many established artists do use this approach for making key sketches and for preparatory works before they go for the real painting or the final painting. If you wish to see another landscape with the same approach, that is the limited colors, on my same channel, then click on the I button. You can see at the top right corner of this video right now. I've used both the round and flat brushes to paint this picture. Broad brushes or the flat brushes for larger areas or masses, and round brushes or the brushes with tips for smaller areas and lines. However, it's also true that you can get thin lines with flat brushes, but you need to be more cautious or more precise with your with the handling of your flat brush in order to get lines, thin lines. Yes, it is possible, but you need practice. But yes, with practice, everything is possible. Points covered so far are using only four colors. I mean, all of them. Uh, the other one is with limitation on the number of colors. We have to explore tonal values wisely. Third is this kind of painting is called a limited color palette painting. Fourth point is this approach is useful if you wish to simplify your painting. Fifth one is this limited color palette approach is useful for landscapes, for portraits, for figurative works, for compositions, for design, and even for illustrations. And the last point covered so far, or you need to remember about this painting, is a slightly different version of this approach is the primary color palette, wherein you use only red, blue, and yellow, just three colors. We are doing this painting using four colors, but I'm telling you only three colors, the basic colors: red, blue, and yellow. These three colors are there in this picture, and along with that, we have one more color, which is burnt sienna. But the other version is slightly similar approaches to go for the primary color scheme or primary color palette. Now, a bit about a few more aspects of this picture other than the limited color approach. A. Creating distance by showing the nearby objects sharp or comparatively sharper and making the faraway things blurred. B. Using cool colors and grayish tones in the background and more warm and vibrant colors in the nearby objects or in the foreground or even in the middle ground, but in this case we have done it in the foreground. C. Keeping a main subject in focus and treating other shapes and elements as supportive elements. D. Making more details in the main subject and painting the background with less details, both in terms of color and tone. E. Utilizing various types of contrast, such as lines against masses contrast, warm colors, and cool colors that contrast, then details against blur areas, this type of contrast. Or the other type is horizontal lines against slanting lines. So within lines, within one element, that is lines, we have these variations possible or contrast. Then F is texture, such as grass in the foreground in this picture, and land in the middle ground, and of course texture in sky, the cloud texture. So the texture is an element worth noticing and exploring in case of any paint picture, but especially in case of landscape. Then a few basic points about landscapes in general. Point number one is generally a landscape has three layers: the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. And the second one is, as an artist or a student, you can make any one of these these two more prominent, more visually prominent in order to make your picture interesting. Please write your comments below in the comment section so that I can figure out whether this tutorial was useful for my viewers or not. After you watch this entire video completely, from the beginning till the end, as many elements of this process of painting in this picture are interwoven or interrelated. And the final stage, a short recap of the entire process. Please hit the red subscribe button so that whenever I upload, you get notified.